You know, everybody goes through a storm sometimes.
God is. And Rainier Avenue Radio World have a new address. We're now located at 4916 Rainier Avenue South in Columbia City, 98118. God is still loving on your community. Being a blessed, don't miss any of our amazing shows. Your favorite community radio station. Tune in and come on down and get some free food and let us continue to love on you. Don't forget to tune in. See you soon for free food and free entertainment with God is and Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not being reprimanded by traffic cops, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Joining another episode of Real Estate and Money, where we talk about all things real estate and money. And today we're going to be doing just that. We're going to be talking about your homes. We're going to be talking about what you do when your kids actually leave your home with high school and then when they leave their home for college. We're going to talk about what options you have as far as buying them housing, as far as them getting housing after they graduate from college. And my name is Tina Lombard, and I am with Bank of England Mortgage. My NMLS number is 147594. Now, it is the time of the year where it is May. It's May, and colleges are starting to graduate. High schools are starting to prep for a high school graduation. And this may be your first child graduating from high school. It may be your fifth child graduating from high school. But what do you do when you have your last child and they leave the nest? Well, first of all, you are called an empty nester. In other words, you may have a house that has maybe 4 or 5 bedrooms, and now it's just the two of you, or maybe just yourself. And you don't really need all the space, which your heat and your water and your all your other lighting bills are going to run up and charge you for. So anyways, we're trying to talk about what should you do after people leave the home. Okay. Well, first of all, let's talk about mortgages. There are a lot of mortgages out there. There's mortgages that you have on your house probably already if you're living in a home. And when your child leaves, they may have a college dorm room they pay for, or you may pay for them to live in another house, or some type of shared hostel, something like that. But, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with those kids? Are you going to pay $1,500 to $2,000 a month on your kids staying in a dorm room or in some other type of hostile situation or some type of a situation where they're living with a family? Or can you buy a condo? Can you buy another home in the vicinity of the college in which you can invest in and your kids can actually live there? And instead of just throwing away money at a dorm house or fraternity house or something of that nature, you're able to buy a home with that money and actually use that money wisely. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you've got kids in college and now they're in their 4th year of college, they're graduating this year, or maybe they're going for a doctorate degree like Violeta's children, and maybe they're spending another 2 years in medical school, and now they leave. Let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen when your college kids do leave. Did you force them into a house? Do they know what their options are as far as mortgages? What are they going to do? So we're going to talk about that too. Now, has Violeta joined the show already? And there she is.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm at the UW. Can you see
Okay.
me? It's my school, the UW.
Oh, my alma mater too. Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I was on another. I was sitting around on an old link.
Okay. Well, no problem. Well, at least you're here now.
I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah. So Violeta, I was just getting everybody warmed up. I was talking to them about what happens when their kids graduate from high school, where they go to college, and if they're going to be paying money on the dorm or they're going to be paying any type of money for other housing. And then I also told that our viewers that people who actually graduate from college, what happens to those kids? What do they do? Where do they live? Do they bounce back into the home, or do they go find a place of their own once they do obtain that first job? So,
yes, exactly.
So Violeta, why don't you tell us a little bit about your weekend, which kind of prompted this whole subject today?
Yeah, this weekend, besides it being Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to you, Tina, belatedly. I know we all had a good time, but I was at Duke University's PhD hooding ceremonies for my older son, Nicholas, who got his doctorate's degree in cellular biology Saturday.
Wow. That's
Amazing kid.
That's amazing.
So,
wow. Congratulations.
So that was a good 6 years of going to graduate school. Because of COVID, it took a little longer. And now he's looking for the job to go to. He's still working at the university. They don't want him to leave, but he's got to get out of North Carolina. Not his kind of action.
So where is he planning to go? Do you have any idea?
Well, one of his top selections for a job is in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Wonderful.
So I heard it's beautiful out there. Homes are relatively cheap. Everything seems to be cheaper except for the big hubs, LA, New York. Here in Seattle, he doesn't want to move out here because he says I can't afford it. But Tina and I are going to find a way to make that kid move back here.
Yes. Yeah, tell him the reason why it's a little bit more less expensive in Michigan is because they have those winters. You haven't seen the hawk in Michigan. That may answer a few questions on why the value of the houses haven't gone up as fast. They've got
and interestingly, the second choice is Colorado.
Yes, tell them to come here to Tina. Yes.
Yeah, maybe Colorado State.
Yeah, they've got the National VA Hospital here in Aurora, Colorado, which is right next to Denver, and they've got a lot of established hospitals here, Children's Hospital, and just a lot of university hospitals here.
I should talk to him about that because he's transitioning his work on heart cell stem cell research to look into how that can work for cancer patients. Okay. And maybe Colorado's it. I'd like for him to be out here on the more towards the West Coast than way over there. I don't know anything about Michigan.
Well, I tell you what, I've been to Michigan a couple times during hawk season. And when it's cold there, it is like negative 30 degrees wind chill factor. Oh. You don't move. When it snows, it's just snow the whole time. When it snows in Colorado, you can basically go outside in your shorts the very next day, and it's still very hot, and that'd be in the depth of winter. But tell him, as far as weather is concerned, we're much more weather in Colorado.
So then I have my other son, the younger son, who graduated from the University of Puget Sound. Now, Nick graduated from the UW. So Yumi and my husband and Nick all went to the UW. But Kyle played baseball for University of Puget Sound. And after high school, I think it's kind of mandatory in most colleges to go into your freshman year and stay at a dorm. Yeah. So you get to know what campus life is all about and get to know people. And then, Tina and I were talking about how maybe that year you as a parent could go out and scope out the area, say, oh, this looks kind of sketchy over here. I don't want my kid living over there because next year that kid is going to probably want to move out of dorms and into a house.
Yes.
So he did live in a house across the street from the baseball field. Great. And it was with 4 other guys from the baseball team.
Great.
So, why not buy a home where you can do like what this lady did with that house, converted it into some kind of housing and then rent it out. So, 6 people were paying like $600 a month.
Yeah. That's great.
For a room.
And if you figure how many people they had in there, maybe 4 or 5 other people. With like
so 36. She was making $3,600 a month, and
the mortgage payment was probably very low. She refinanced that. Her payments were probably like $2,000 or what have you.
Exactly.
Yes, very smart.
Yeah.
So what Violeta is showing us right now is that you had a lady who actually had a house, and 4 of the kids or 5 other students actually lived in that house, and they paid rent. And so she just took that money, and she had a positive cash flow perhaps. And then the value of that house is going up, 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 up. So the renters are actually paying for her mortgage.
Yeah, she had like 10 of these.
Oh gosh, yeah. See,
around the campus.
Usually, it's funny because usually I have a client and then they have 2 rental properties. Then before you know it, they have 5 rental properties. Before you know it, they go to 10, then they go to 15. They kind of like freak out at 15, but you can get loans that many. So if she's getting positive cash flow off of this payment, then it's basically like she doesn't have any money. I mean, it doesn't have any debt. So let's say her payments were, $3,000 a month and she was getting $3,600 a month. Then that's even cash flow. So it's not a debt against her. So you can keep buying houses. As long as you have the down payment, you can keep buying houses. And so in a university area, a place where there's a university or a college or anything of that nature, the value is going to really hold itself. So I was telling Violeta, I have a client in Boston, Massachusetts, and you've got MIT there, you've got Harvard and all these different campuses, Berkeley, and he bought several 5-unit apartments during COVID for like $300,000, 5 units. Now of course, I was doing refinances and the houses are worth like $500,000, $600,000. It went up instantly, and it's all positive cash flow for him. And I was like, hey, how did you do all this? Are you a realtor? Have you been, studying real estate? He's like, no. He says, do the math, He goes, this is a high traffic area as far as colleges are concerned. So the value is always going to be there. Now, these houses were built in like 1901. Mm-hmm. These weren't brand spanking new homes. So if you have a place like by the university, or even, like Puget Sound University or down in Tacoma or something like that, the houses don't have to be built in the last 10 years. They can be built in 1902 as long as the establishment and foundation is good. You can make some very, very good cash flow off of that. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the colleges favored by high school students here from the state of Washington is Harvard. So yeah. And where's that? Where is Harvard?
Harvard's right there in Boston. Yeah.
It is in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, if it's that kind of affordability can be seen around campuses.
Yes.
Advantage of that if you have a child going to school there. And
yes.
Look around and start your portfolio of investment properties.
Mm-hmm, right.
When your kid goes to school, that's a good time to start, right, Tina?
Very good time to start. I mean, let's say that you do have a child going to school, and let's say they're in Texas or Colorado or something like that. I mean, if you can find a condo, let's say the condo payments are $3,000 a month, but you were going to pay $2,000 a month or $800 a month for your child to be in a dorm or something like that. Anyhow, it's basically offsetting your expense. So a lot of these houses, even when your child graduates and moves on, you can still retain the house and still have positive cash flow. And from when your child started at the college level as a freshman, and when they graduated, most likely that home, the value would have appreciated. So just be smart. We're just saying there's different ways to be smart about it. Now, I was telling Violeta, if your child is going to college and they are working, like Nick was working, and they are working, and they're even in school, and you could actually get a condo or a house and put them on that condo and that house. So when they graduate, they do have some type of a mortgage. You do have some type of a house already established before they even graduate. Now, if they choose to sell the house, if you choose to keep it as a rental, that's just all the blessing. But if you're going to be paying money in the first place, just go ahead and be wise about it. So like high school, I was telling them, Violeta, that, when kids go to high school, whether you only have one child or you have 5 children, when your last one leaves, maybe you had a 6-bedroom house, maybe you had a 4-bedroom house, and now it's just you and the other person, okay? Just you and your spouse, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just yourself. So what do you do? So a lot of times they've got a beautiful home where they raise their family, and the value of the house is this much, it's a lot of money, but they only need that much house now. So a lot of people sell their house, they sell the house that they raised their kids in, and now they're empty nesters, as we call it. Mm-hmm. So they sell that house and they take the equity out of that house. They put it down on something much smaller. A lot of them have enough equity to put in the bank to live off of for retirement. So, when your kid is, their last year, your last child is in their last year of high school, and you think that they're probably going to go to college, it may not be a bad idea, maybe a very good idea. Start looking for your options. Violeta, I bought my house for like $160,000 back in 1998. And I sold it for like $400-something thousand.
Nice.
And Mariah was like basically graduated from high school and stuff like that. It's just like, I don't know why I had it for so long, but I sold it because we didn't need it anymore, But it was a nice nest egg for myself. We bought something down here, but it was a nice nest egg for myself. So wherever you are, think about, you had to buy a house with 3 or 4 bedrooms because you had a couple of kids, but now they're going off to college. Even if you really love your house, just see what the value would be. Maybe you can still stay in the house, but you may have enough equity where you can buy some rental properties with the equity that you have in your house.
Or turn your home into a rental property.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Buy something smaller.
It's exactly it. Exactly. Just be wise with your money. Usually when the kids they leave the home, it's a change of circumstance in your life. Whenever there's a change of circumstance in your life, and you look at your mortgage and your living space, really reconsider if something is better for you. So like when my daughter gets married and she moves out of my house now, I've got way too much house. I got way too much house. I've got way too much yard to do by myself. Yeah. I'm going to start thinking, what am I going to do with that equity? What am I going to do with it? Am I going to do something else with it? And if I can, then let's go. So whenever your kid leaves your house or your kid leaves college, look to see what your finances look like. So, so B, when somebody leaves your house, like let's say Nicholas leaves his house, what have you, he gets a new job. A lot of times, like my Filipino mother, as soon as I was out on my own, she's like, "You're buying a house. You're buying a house." And I think my rent was like $525 a month. That was my rent at up there by South Park.
Wow.
It was like, yeah. And I remember I bought my house. My mother forced me to buy a house. And the house was a HUD repossession or something like that. But I bought it. The mortgage was only $535 a month, $10 difference. So we bought it at like, I want to say $65,000. We sold it for $320. Big difference. That was like in 8 years. Right? So my mother forced me. And if she hadn't done that, I don't know where I've been or what have you. But when your kids leave and they're about to go on their own, like when they leave college, what do? Well, a lot of times, a lot of students that leave and they get their first job, they think, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should get a house. And I'm working for Amazon, making $180,000 a year. I don't know." And this is true. This is so true. They work for Amazon. They work for Starbucks or something like that. They have this executive position and they're making all this money, $130,000, $150,000 a year, and they don't know what to do with the money, and so they just start renting because now they want to party. They want to party. And so, but some kids are like, hey, I want to live in the outskirts. I don't want to be in the city. I need a car. I want to buy a house. Well, a lot of times you've got college. College actually acts as employment. So a lot of people leave and they'll say, "Hey, I got an engineering job, but I've only been on this job for 3 months. I have no experience." Well, no, that's not true, because loan officers or mortgage companies, lenders look at your college as employment. So if you were 4 years or 6 years, like your son, we're considering, because sometimes college is a lot harder, but a lot of lenders consider that employment. Mm-hmm. So if you just pop out of college and you're like 2 or 3 years or 2 or 3 months down the line, you're like, "Hey, I'm living in California, I'm living in Seattle, I'm living, wherever, Olympia, I want to buy a condo, I want to buy a house," buy it. Because right now the rent is almost as much as the mortgages are. I mean, the rent is just ridiculous. A lot of people are buying houses, so the landlords are just raking up the rent. So go ahead and find out if you qualify. If you did go for 4 years, if you did the last 2 years of your life with college, that actually counts as employment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to tell Nicholas soon after we talk that he is eligible for this, because as a 6-year PhD student, he's got something that he can count on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The thing is, if you, with that money, a lot of students, a lot of people, period, when they make all of a sudden, like, let's say $20,000 a year, and now they're making $180,000 a year. Right. Okay, they're just like, woohoo, let's go. They're partying, they're buying their toys and stuff like that, all their adult toys, their cars and all that kind of stuff, the clothes. But if they can go ahead and start investing in a home, a lot of times you got that tax obligation that they don't think of. So $20,000 a year, maybe your tax obligation is like $3,000 or $4,000. When you make $180,000 as a doctor, it's going to be a very big, thick chunk of tax that you're going to have to pay. And so a lot of times a house is the first line of defense, besides kids. We're not ready for that yet. But a house actually has got a lot of tax shelters involved with it. So that's why we tell people, when you start making a lot of money, there's a point where you can't afford to not have a house. Right. Have you heard of that before, V?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of realtors say is sometimes you make too much money, you can't afford not to buy a house because you have no tax write-off. So Uncle Sam is taking everything. So if you have a young adult that just graduated from college, They've got the money to buy themselves a condo. Start with a condo. They don't need like 15 acres out there with a mansion or whatever. Just start with a condo so to make sure they know how to make the mortgage and make the payments, and they understand the components of home ownership. Once they get that underneath their belt, they'll be able to buy a bigger home and a bigger home. But the tax write-off at the end of the year, Violeta, that first tax write-off, they're gonna be like, wow, okay, yeah, I'm glad that I bought a house.
Now I want to get into a house.
Mm-hmm. I want to get into a house.
After the first year of condo living.
Oh yeah, and I tell people, start a business. A lot of people have some side hustle. Like me, I do music. That's my side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
My mother used to make cakes. And that sort of thing. And they had a janitorial service. But when you have your own business at your house, I don't care if it's teaching chess. I don't care if it's volunteering or if it's being a coach part time. Once you have a side hustle, a lot of times if that office is in your home, you have even more of a tax write-off. So the financial benefits, So I tell people, you clean on the side, you draw on the side, you paint on the side. Just get your stuff at LLC or something. Hang your license on your wall. And also when you get the tax write-off from your income, you get the tax write-off from your other business.
So his fiance, when they get a house, they'll co-sign, right? And,
yes.
And then she works from home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he'll be at the job.
Mm-hmm.
In an office situation, but she works from home, so they can write off all that, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if her employer, if she works for self,
Mm-hmm.
Or even if she's in a sales position, talk to your tax accountant. But you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell them you work from home, so we can write all this off. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. So, and I was also saying, I was talking to Violeta about doctor loans. So if you do have a child, well, first of all, if you're a nurse, or anything of that nature, if you work in the healthcare, dentist, that sort of thing, there are a lot of loans out there that give you a lot of bonuses, or they make it a lot easier to buy at home. So if you're a nurse or a dentist or anything of that nature, and if you're a doctor, like cellular, what is he in? What is he?
Cellular biology, stem cell research.
Okay, isn't that
whatever that means?
Or in general medicine. But if you're a doctor, or physician's assistant, any of those jobs there. Particularly doctors, there are doctor loans out there. Some of the doctor loans don't look at student loans. They don't look at all these different types of debt to income ratios. It's a whole different program. So if you have an adult child out there that is now a doctor and they want to get into a house, there are a lot of benefits.
And he has zero debt, no loans.
Yeah, I hope his fiance understands. Understands.
He can afford a house,
okay?
Right?
A doctor, no loans. Oh my gosh. I've got people, my friends are 57 years old, and they still got that student loan chain around their neck. I'm serious. So good job, Violeta. Good job.
Yes.
But it's something like you've got to really talk to your children before they graduate from college. Even when they go out of high school, you really should sit down and talk with them. Even talk to yourself and find out what's going on financially. But let them know. Don't waste your money on cars and Porsches and all that fun stuff. Get yourself a home. And cars do not appreciate value. You buy a Porsche today at $200,000, it's going to be worth 160, and then 130. In a couple of years. If you buy a house, at $200,000, it's going to be worth 250 or 300,000 in a couple of years. So you want to have that conversation with them. Violeta, my mother was like, "I'll get on your loan. I'll co-sign on your loan. I'll co-sign on your loan." She co-signed. She tried to co-sign everybody's loan.
Everything.
And I'm like, you wouldn't even buy me a Snickers bar, and even in college, she wouldn't buy me books. She didn't buy me anything. But when it came time for a house, she was like, "What do you need? Can I give you money for a down payment?
Yeah,
whatever it takes to get you out of here. You not bounce back." But it kind of really taught me a lot, because she said, "You're going to get a house. I don't care what you do. I don't care if I have to buy the house and shove you in it, but you're going to buy a house." And so I got the loan. She offered to co-sign, but I co-signed. I didn't need her. But she was like, "I'm ready to co-sign and put my name on the line for you." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I better get a house," because she's never, hasn't bought me, didn't buy me clothes. And now she wants to, put money down a house. But she was very, persistent on, this is the way you're going to build wealth. You cannot do it if you're renting, So, have a conversation with your kids when they're in college, maybe 1 or 2 years out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because once they graduate, they're in Hawaii and they're in Italy and they're in Greece and they got all this money, they're less likely to hear you say, "Hey, get a house." They'll be like, "No, I'm in Italy this month. I'm not getting a house." So make sure that you talk to them prior to.
Okay. Well, for the last few minutes here, I wanted to show you a few homes, but first, let's talk about what people are looking for when they're looking for a home around a university campus. And one is definitely, I took a look at these homes. They're like 2 miles around UW, no further away than that. Public transportation. My son, Nick, he's in Durham, North Carolina. He's used to public transportation to get to and from campus to the lab. And he doesn't have a car. So, parking is important, that it's safe, that you're not walking around trying to find your car in the middle of the night or early in the morning. Amenities, nearby shopping, grocery stores, that kind of thing should be close by. And the rental potential of these homes that you're looking at should be good too. We're talking about rents in the $1,500 to $3,000 range. Stuff. And safety and security is very important as well. So that in the UW area, we have the light rail system now that gets people to and from everywhere. Right now, it ends in Angle Lake in the Des Moines area. And then all the way to Northgate right now. Wow. And so in the U district, they've got a great system there. I would go to the Husky games, taking the light rail from Angle Lake to the UW. And so I've got some homes here that I am going to show right now. The first one is it's a studio. Look at this place in the U district. For $260,000, you get the studio, which currently rents for $1,250.
Okay.
And that bed that you see there in the the picture on the right, top right. Nope, back. Yeah, it's a Murphy bed. Okay. So people maximize their space by putting in something like a Murphy bed. You have a living room during the day. You pull the bed down at night, and there you go. And then the next one is, so that's a studio with 1 bathroom. And then the next one, Daniel, page 2, in the U district, the 1 bedroom, 1 bath for $299.
I think we're up. Yeah, I think that's why I think we're timed up.
Time's up.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Okay.
Well, okay. No, these are great areas, Tina. I'm just amazed.
We're going to have to do another show on it. Maybe next week we'll continue on this next week.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
You just say goodbye, but oh well. Okay. Are we still live? What is it doing? It says live.
Yeah, we're still live. We're still live. Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, he's not going to show any more of those houses. No. Kind of important to take a look at what you've got around you. So we'll see you next week. Maybe we'll continue this topic.
And meanwhile, give us a call if you have any questions.
Okay. Bye-bye.